Tonight, I am spending Christmas Eve at Grandma's house. The very thought makes me smile as I snuggle under a warm patchwork quilt in the cozy bedroom. Outside, gentle snowflakes fall silently, covering the world with a soft white blanket. Grandma sits beside me on the bed. Her silver hair shines softly in the light of the bedside lamp, and her eyes sparkle with kindness. She pulls me close and gives me a big hug, then kisses the top of my head. I whisper, "Grandma, is Christmas your favorite holiday?" She smiles and nods. "Of course it is. When I was a little girl, Christmas meant so many wonderful things. Lots of presents, cookies, cakes, and special moments with family." "What was your favorite thing about Christmas when you were little?" I ask eagerly. Grandma's eyes gleam with nostalgia. "Gingerbread. My mother and I would bake it together a whole week before Christmas. The smell of cinnamon and ginger would fill the house. We'd also decorate every room, from the Christmas tree in the living room to the little ornaments hanging by the windows." I sigh happily, imagining the house filled with the spicy scent of ginger and the sparkle of decorations. "Will you help me bake gingerbread like you did?" I ask. "Oh, I would love that," Grandma says. "Tomorrow after breakfast, we'll get all the ingredients and start baking." I close my eyes, hearing the quiet tap-tap of snow melting on the windowsill, feeling warm and safe. This Christmas Eve at Grandma's house is already magical. On the next evening, after a simple dinner of soup and fresh bread, Grandma and I settled near the crackling fireplace in the living room. The firelight flickered softly, casting dancing shadows on the walls decorated with twinkling Christmas lights and handmade ornaments. Grandma reached for an old book from the shelf, its faded cover embossed with golden letters that read, "Christmas Tales and Wonders." She opened it carefully and smiled at me. "This book belonged to my mother," she said. "I've read these stories every Christmas since I was your age." I snuggled closer, wrapped in a patchwork blanket Grandma had knitted many years ago. The room smelled faintly of pine from the Christmas tree, mixed with the cozy warmth of the fire. Grandma began reading. The first story was about Santa Claus and his trusty reindeer flying through wintry skies, delivering presents to children all over the world. "As Santa flies over rooftops," she whispered, "he listens carefully for the sound of laughter and hopes to bring joy to every house." The story painted pictures in my mind, the jingle of sleigh bells, the sparkle of stars, and the gentle rustling of snowflakes falling silently in the night. Then Grandma read about a magical village, hidden beneath the snow, where elves worked busily in workshops, making toys for the good girls and boys. "The elves," she explained, "are very quick and clever. They love to share secret smiles and laughter with each other to keep the Christmas spirit alive." I could almost hear the faint giggles and tiny hammering sounds as if the little elves were hiding just beyond the walls. Between stories, Grandma told me about her favorite Christmas memory, the time she had dressed up as an elf in the village Christmas play, and how all the children had cheered. Her eyes sparkled as she described the colorful costumes and the feeling of being part of something magical. As the night grew deeper and the fire's glow softened, Grandma closed the book and looked at me kindly. "Do you believe in Christmas magic?" she asked gently. I thought for a moment, then nodded. "I do. Because it's not just about the things we see. It's about the love we feel and the stories we share." Grandma smiled and kissed my forehead. "That's the real magic of Christmas. It lives in our hearts and in the moments we spend together." I glanced out the window and noticed the snow had stopped, leaving the world outside still and sparkling under the moonlight. Feeling warm and full of wonder, I yawned and climbed under my quilt. Grandma tucked me in, then whispered one last thing. "Tomorrow, when we bake gingerbread and decorate the house, you'll see another kind of Christmas magic. The magic we make with our own hands, and with love." With that, I drifted off to sleep, dreaming of snowflakes, twinkling lights, and the magical stories Grandma had shared. The next morning, the sunlight streamed softly through the frost-speckled windows, casting a gentle glow over Grandma's kitchen. The air smelled faintly of pine from the Christmas tree in the corner, and soon, The scent of cinnamon and ginger would fill the room too. After a cozy breakfast of scrambled eggs and toast, Grandma smiled and said, "Are you ready to bake some gingerbread cookies?" I nodded eagerly, wiping my hands on my apron. Together, we gathered the ingredients from the cupboards and refrigerator: flour, brown sugar, molasses, ground ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, butter, eggs, and a little baking soda. Grandma carefully measured out each ingredient, showing me how to sift the flour so it would be light and airy. In baking, she explained, patience is just as important as precision. When we mixed the spices together, the cinnamon and ginger smelled warm and sweet, tickling my nose. I stirred the dark, sticky molasses into the golden sugar, and the dough slowly came together under Grandma's practiced hands. Once the dough was ready, Grandma wrapped it tightly in plastic wrap and set it in the refrigerator to chill. While we waited, she told me more stories about her childhood Christmases, how she and her mother would sing while baking, sometimes dancing around the kitchen when the music came on the radio. When the dough had cooled, Grandma rolled it out on a floured wooden board. The dough was cool and soft under my fingers. Together, we pressed out shaped stars, snowmen, Christmas trees, and gingerbread men. Some shapes had funny faces, drawn with raisins for eyes and buttons. Next came my favorite part: decorating. Grandma had bowls filled with colorful icing, red, green, and white, and tiny candy beads, sparkly sugar crystals, and little chocolate chips. I carefully piped icing on a gingerbread man, trying to make a happy smile. Grandma added a scarf of green icing and buttons dotted with tiny candies. A few times, some icing dripped off, or a candy slipped off the cookie, making me giggle. Baking is an adventure, Grandma said with a wink. And sometimes, adventurers make little mistakes. The cookies baked in the oven, filling the whole house with a spicy, sweet aroma. Grandma pulled out the golden brown cookies on a tray and placed them on the cooling rack. We sampled a warm cookie, breaking it in half. The ginger and cinnamon comforted my taste buds, and the sugar sparkled gently with each bite. Just like Grandma's Christmases when she was little, I said happily. Grandma smiled, her eyes shining. And next, we'll make the house glow with decorations ready for the festivities ahead. I felt so lucky to share this moment with her, a simple, wonderful morning filled with love, laughter, and gingerbread magic. After the delicious morning of baking gingerbread cookies, Grandma smiled and said, "Now, let's bring a sparkle to the house with decorations just like I used to do when I was a child." I felt a flutter of excitement. Decorating was my favorite part. Together, we carried the trays of freshly baked cookies into the living room, where the Christmas tree stood tall, waiting to be dressed in its festive finery. Grandma opened a big cardboard box from under the stairs. It was filled with ornaments, colorful glass, baubles, handmade paper chains, shining stars, and tinsel that shimmered like strands of silver. As I lifted a glittery red ball, I noticed tiny scratches and chips, signs of many Christmases past. "These ornaments have been in our family for decades," said Grandma softly. "Each one has a story." We started with the tree. Grandma carefully hung the lights. First, tiny white bulbs that twinkled like stars caught in the branches. Then came the ornaments. She handed me a wooden snowflake, delicately carved and painted white. "This was made by my grandmother," she said. "She liked to carve little decorations by hand every winter." I hung the snowflake on a sturdy branch, stepping back to admire how the tree began to sparkle. Next, we strung popcorn garlands, threading the freshly popped kernels carefully on long strings. Grandma showed me how to tie the knots to keep each piece safe. As we worked, Grandma shared more stories. When I was young, we would also hang dried orange slices and cinnamon sticks on the tree. The house smelled like Christmas, and everyone felt happy just being near it. The windows were next. Grandma clipped tiny ornaments onto the curtains and added paper snowflakes we had cut the day before. Outside, the snow continued to fall softly, making the world look like a winter wonderland. I held a glittering star for the tree topper. Can I put this up, Grandma? Of course, she said with a smile. Stretching up on my tiptoes, I carefully placed the star atop the tree. It caught the light beautifully, glowing warmly. Then, Grandma brought out a small wooden nativity set. We placed each figure gently around the fireplace, hearth, the baby, Mary, and Joseph, the wise men, and the animals all watching quietly over the room. With the decorations finished, the room looked magical, full of warmth and glow. Grandma and I sat down on the big armchair by the fireplace, admiring all our work. Do you feel the Christmas spirit now? Grandma asked. I nodded eagerly. It's everywhere in the lights, the smells, and your stories. She hugged me tight. That's the best part of Christmas, making memories and sharing them together. Outside, the snowflakes sparkled under the street lamp, and inside, the house was alive with holiday magic. As the afternoon sun dipped behind the snowy hills, the house began to fill with the sounds of laughter and footsteps. One by one, family members arrived, carrying bags, warm coats, and special dishes to share. Grandma's eyes twinkled with happiness as she welcomed everyone with hugs and kisses. Soon, the living room was alive with cheerful voices, cozy chatter, and the soft glow of the Christmas tree lights. The dining table was set with Grandma's finest dishes: plump roasted turkey, savory stuffing, mashed potatoes with creamy gravy, and a basket of warm, freshly baked rolls. In the center, a big bowl of cranberry sauce shone bright red like tiny jewels. Grandma showed me how each dish had a story. This cranberry sauce recipe has been in our family for generations, she said, smiling. It reminds us of the harvest festivals from long ago. She handed me a small spoonful, and the tangy, sweet taste made me smile. As everyone took their seats, Grandma said a gentle prayer, thanking everyone for coming together and for the joy of the season. While we ate, Grandma told stories about the Christmas dinner. She remembered how the family would gather, sing carols between courses, and share laughter that filled every corner of the house. After dinner, a surprise awaited. Grandma brought out a special cake, a gingerbread house, decorated with icing, candies, and tiny sugar snowflakes. This is our Christmas celebration center, she said, placing it on the table with pride. Everyone admired the sweet castle, and I felt like I was inside a magical winter village. We sang carols, took turns sharing our favorite holiday memories, and there was even a little dance around the living room to Grandma's old Christmas tunes on the radio. As the night deepened, the warmth of family, stories, and music made the house feel like the coziest place on earth. Before bedtime, Grandma tucked me in once again, her smile soft and loving. Tomorrow will bring more magic, she whispered,